Ohayou gozaimasu! So, I literally just finished doing a kick video, but now I'm going to show you hand techniques. So I hate myself, I guess. Alright? So, Taekwondo is what I practice, what I train. I do ITF and WTF, so, you know, if you ask, I don't know, we do both. We train all. So, we're just going to do some basic hand techniques that I know, that I've learned from my sensei, Master Sabrowski, second Dan, I believe, and that's about it. We're just going to do some basic hand techniques. So, starting off with the most basic one, the punch, right? Main thing, if you want to practice this, it's good to do a horseback, which is just feet slightly longer than shorter, slightly wider than shoulder length. Do a slight squat, because never lock out your knees, that's bad for you, you can pass out. Slight bend, hands at your waist, because this is the basic for every thing. If you're doing a one-handed technique, the other hand's right here, most likely. Low block, a chop, a punch, other block. Most everything, the other hand is right here. So this is a good starting point for drills, right? So punching, horseback stance, you crouch a little bit, 2 fists, make sure your fist is closed. Closed fist, do not do like this. You're gonna hurt yourself punching somebody. You're gonna hurt yourself more than you're gonna hurt them. Double fist, your fist is upside down when it's in this position, right? And then basic punch, shui, shui, shui. The punch, there's 3 different levels mainly. High, which you're hitting them in this lip, the upper lip, between their lip and their nose, because that's a really easy bone to hurt and that disorients them. So right here, first 2 knuckles, that's a high punch. A good way to practice is think about yourself, right? Pretend like fighting somebody your same height. Aim for your own lips. You know where your lips are when you're punching. You can see your hands. You can know if it's aligned with your lips or not. You see, my hand is where my lips would be if I go in a straight line. So, that's a high punch. And when you punch, say you're like this, say you're in a fighting stance, like an actual fighting stance. You go from here, well, not even fight. In a fight, you just, but like, you know, in the training. From here, you're gonna go straight out, and basically right before you go out all the way, you flip. Don't punch somebody like this, that's weird. Yay! And the twist is just like the same thing as the kicks if you watched the last video. It's the same thing, you're twisting because it gives you more power. So twist, hey! And also use your hips too in it. Hey! 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 Right? So that's high, high. The lips. The mid-level is solar plexus. Heard them. Right? So high, lip, there's a name for it, I can't remember. High, mid, so aiming for your gut, and the next one would be low. Kind of just like belt level. Also posture, please do not do this, don't do this, just straight, right? Straight. Hey! 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 So drills we do at Taekwondo for the kids, we just call out names. Mid, low, high. Hey, hey, hey! High, high, high. Hey, hey, hey! Mid, low, high. Hey, hey, hey! So when you're practicing, if you're doing stuff like that, alternate hands each time. Don't just, that's not what we do. Okay, punch is very simple, we all know that. So that's the way to train it in your actual Taekwondo training. Ooh. And, you know, if you're in a form, you're not going to be in a horseback stance most likely, except for like maybe the end of Pogway 4, you'll be like this, but usually you're just in a normal stance, right? A normal fighting stance. So, punch in a fighting stance, right? Let's say my right leg's back, remember this leg's bent. You're going to step. The normal way is to step with your punch and come from here. You're switching your hands. So we're going to punch. I'm punching with the back hand. So this leg moves with this hand normally. And you go, you punch, and it's alternating. Just like I said with this, you're alternating. This one's an alternation. So same time, this one's going out, this one's going in. It gives your body the momentum. Because, you know, you've seen haymakers, they go way back here. Boom! It's the same thing as that. You're using your your body weight, your body momentum, you're using everything into your punch. So, and you see that little hesitant I do, where I'm like, and then I punch. You don't even have to do that, but that's also a good way. You're holding all your weight in the air and going down, especially if you're heavy like me. I'm 195, so I have a lot of weight to throw around, right? So that's how you step with it. And then there's also a reverse punch, which is the same thing, just the opposite of legs. So, say you're starting like this, you could either do this, where you punch with the opposite hand. So this leg's coming up. You know how I said you always punch with the same one? Sometimes you do a reverse punch, which would be this. You step with this foot, you punch with this foot. You know, when you're learning forms, if you do Taekwondo, remember which one is which, because it's easy to get confused and be like, oh wait, it's not an actual regular punch. You know what I mean? So just, hey, right? And then also, there's another way to do it, where you just don't step at all. You're like this, they just punch. Sometimes you don't step at all, you just punch with it. But I'm talking about form specifically. In real life, jump with that bitch. Just, that's the punches. And now it is basic chops, right? So it's kind of the same thing as the punch, where it's different levels, the chop. So I wouldn't say do a horseback stance and chop. I would say step with this one. It's the same way in a fighting stance. So it's kind of, I don't know if you saw my last video with the kicks, but overhead hammer strike, you start from here, and then you go around, inside-outside block, outside-inside block, you do the same thing, you go from here, you go in, you know, to block somebody for the punching, you push their arm out the way. This is the same thing as that. You're starting from your head with the fist, and you're gonna open it out and chop, right? Chop. You don't really low chop. You can, but I said it's more of a block, right? You know, that's more of like a low pseudo. We call this pseudo. You know, pseudo chop. Hey! You've seen that before, that's called a pseudo chop. You go to the side, and boom. That's really a block, more than an attack, that's a block. I say just step with it, so. And like I said, if you're doing a one-handed thing, the other hand is going to your hip, right, your waist. If it's two-handed, like say we're doing a double chop for whatever reason, double chop, then both hands. Or if you're doing like this weird thing, this weird, strange thing, you know, you're like this, then both hands are doing something. But say I'm just doing one, I'm only blocking with one hand, then this other hand goes to my hip. Blocking with both hands, then the other hand does what it's supposed to do, right? So, right, so, hey! And this one's called ridge, I believe, and when you're hitting with this part of your hand, it's called knife. If I believe, like I said, I'm not an instructor, man. But yeah, I believe this is knife hand, and this is ridge hand, I think this is ridge. And when you're doing ridge, tuck your thumb in, because you don't want to hit with your thumb when you're trying to chop a board and break your thumb. That's going to suck, right? Yeah, really just punches, strikes, on punches, chops. And I guess the other one I can show you is elbow. Sadly, you don't do it in sparring anymore. They took that away. You just do it in forms because they want us to be safe. But yeah, so elbow, when you're hitting with the elbow, you want to hit with this little part right here, this specific range. Because up here, that's closer to your hand bone. You can hurt yourself here. Down here is obviously your elbow. You can hurt your elbow, like the actual elbow. Because, you know, it's an elbow strike, but that's a joint. That's weak. So you're hitting with this meat right here of your elbow. Obviously, I have awesome forearms, so, you know, it might be harder to see your meat. Normally, you go sideways, like this. You want to strike them. You slap, basically, so you're stopping yourself, and that's the impact of hitting the person, right? But in real life, you just... you smack them. This is kind of like a punch too, but with your elbow. It's another way of punching. So if you're using this to break a board, it's most likely going to be right here, and you do a full swing. You know what I mean? So what you do is you grab your own hand like this, like you're a church lady, and you step and you swing, and you want to hit them sideways. So you're going to end up like this, kind of like a slap again. Everything's going back to the slap. So, right, and use them hips. So it'll be like this. Step back. Height! Right? Height! And say you don't want to do a board breaking and you just want to focus on hitting somebody. That's also good. But I would say this one's good to practice, where you just step and go forwards. I think that one's also good. Because that's what you do in forms. You don't do that full spin I did. You just go straight forward. is used more like a punch. It's used more like a jab than a hook, like how you do with the board breaking, you know what I mean? And also elbow is another way you can overhand ham strike, but that's so advanced, do not do this. But you go just like an axe kick, just like an overhead hammer strike, just like an axe kick. You go around and you go straight down. Hey! But don't do that because no, you're gonna break everything in your body. Yeah, you do this. Usually for forms, you step like this for breaking a board to just like smack it. And you know, in a scenario of fighting, I would say, because our master taught us this combo where someone punches, you block it, you know, you do a regular block. No, you don't even block it, you grab their hand. You come with an elbow and then you backhand them. So I think it's good to just walk forward and smack them like this. Like without doing a big spin, without smacking your hand on your elbow, just like right across the face is what you're supposed to do, right? So I guess next video I'll make will be blocks, different blocks. And that's basically it. Thanks for watching. I'm hot. It's sweaty. I love summer, but I hate the heat. Jotnet.